So, the thing is, I used to be an avid reader. Growing up, books were my closest pals. Until I found a new love.
I found a love for me.
Nope, not what you're thinking. Well, I meant to say until I found music, or rather, music found me. Do you hear that? Now, that is definitely not me. I'm not that good. What about this one? Well, that kind of sounds like me. Nope, I am better than that. But I digress. The point I want to make is that music took a lot of my time. So much that I had very little time for books. Until I met this guy on YouTube, Jack Edwards. I'll leave the link to his channel in the description. Well, he inspired me and I have decided to go back to my first love, so to speak. So this year, I decided that I am going to read 100 books. Yes, 100 books. To some of you, 100 books is nothing, but to me, it's a lot. Given that for the past 5 or so years, I have read on the average 10 books per year. So this is going to be a real challenge. Now, I don't want this video to be long, so I'll just tell you about 21 of the books on my TBR. Let me know in the description how many books you intend to read this year. If you haven't subscribed yet, kindly do so. It's free, actually. Now, just hit on the red subscribe button and turn on the notification. I included timestamps in the description below for those of you who may want to skip to a particular section. So let's get into the video. My name is Tete, and this is Reader Time. Alright, so in no particular order. The first is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. He's a comedian from South Africa. The book is actually about he and his family's experiences during the apartheid period in South Africa. Actually, I've read about apartheid, but it would be interesting to know more from someone who had a first-hand experience, so I'm reading it. Now, moving on. My second book is Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. This is a book that was recommended to me a few years back by a friend and colleague, Anthony Ameyaw. He was always talking about this book, so I've decided to add it to my TBR. Hopefully I'll read it and then get to know why Anthony kept yapping about this book. Third on my list is Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. This was on my TBR for 2021, but I couldn't read it. This year, hopefully, I shall read it. Actually, it was mentioned in a TV series I watched, Mr. Iglesias, which featured the comedian Gabriel Iglesias. I hope I got the name right. Number 4 on my list is Dance of the Forest by Wally Soyinka. I hope I got that name right too. This book is actually a play. Soyinka is unarguably one of the best African writers, and I realized surprisingly that I have not read any of his books. So this year, I am reading Dance of the Forest by him. Number 5 on the list is Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. This is actually a self-help book. It contains 21 ways to stop procrastinating and to get more done in less time. This year, I hope to be super productive. Hopefully, this book will be my guide. Number 6, Anthills of the Savannah by Chinua Achibi. Now, this book was actually mentioned in a conversation with another colleague of mine, Philip. Ever since I had always wanted to read it. Hopefully, I'll be able to do that this year. Moving on, number 7, Make Your Bed by Admiral William McRaven. He's a retired officer of the US Navy. I once watched an excerpt of a speech drafted from his book. Since then, I had always wanted to read the full speech. Number 8, 12 Years a Slave by Solomon Northup. Hope I got that right. I once watched a movie of the same title, and I'm hoping that this is a novel of that movie. You know what I mean. Number 9, Think and Grow Rich. Another recommendation by Anthony Ameyaw, my friend. I have shelved reading it for some time now. Hopefully this year I will read it. Number 10, The Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller. This also is a play that seeks to talk about the American dream the loss of identity, and a man's ability to change within himself and society. It sounds exciting to me, so I can't wait to read it. Moving on to number 11. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn, Hugo. This is a novel by Taylor Jenkins. Now, the central character in this novel, Evelyn Hugo, happens to be a bisexual Hollywood star who at the age of 79 years decided to grant a final interview to an unknown journalist. From what I read, the book is packed with some history, psychology, and you know what? Romance. Some romance will be bad at all. You know what I mean. Number 12 on the list is The Comedy of Errors by William Shakespeare. Another book I've put off reading for a very long time. Hopefully, I'll clear it off the shelf before the year ends. Number 13, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma. Another recommendation by Anthony Amayao. He says, and I quote, "Felix, you have to read this book. I promise, Anthony, I'll read it this year." Number 14, By the Sea by Abdul Razak Garuna. I hope I got the name right. It looks like I'm murdering people's names in this video. Abdul Razak is actually a Tanzanian-born novelist who moved to the United Kingdom in the 1960s as a refugee. He actually won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 2021. I've not read any of his books yet, so hopefully I'll like this one. Number 15, Admiring Silence, another novel by Abdul Razak Garuna. I hope the name is right. Actually, this is his 5th novel. It's actually about an unnamed Zanzibari man living in England after fleeing from Zanzibar in the early 1960s. Now, in England, he becomes a teacher and raises a daughter with his white English lover. After his 20-year exile from his homeland, this man, the narrator, travels back to Zanzibar to reflect on his past, only to find out that Zanzibar was not as he left it. I can't wait to read this. Moving on to number 16, Miracle Morning by Elrod. He's a best-selling author. The book is supposed to reveal a secret that is guaranteed to transform one's life. Definitely something worth reading. Moving on to number 17, What I Know for Sure by Oprah Winfrey. Now, the book is actually a glimpse into the life of the author, Oprah. It's also a manifesto about how to be positive. I will definitely read it. Number 18, You're a Badass by Jen Cicero. It says how to stop doubting yourself and living an awesome life. Another one on staying positive, a self-help book. I will definitely read it. Moving on, number 19, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden by Hannah Green. This is actually a fictionalized autobiography. The novel tends to focus on the relationship between the central character, who happens to be a teenage girl who also happens to be mentally ill, and her doctor, who happens to be a gifted therapist. That is something I will read. Number 20, Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne, a French writer. I hope I got the name right. The book is a novel that narrates the adventure of Phileas Fogg and his French valet who attempt to circumnavigate the world in 80 days in the hope of winning a wager of 20,000 euros. Who wouldn't want that? Some adventure. Finally, and by no means the least, The River Between by Ngugi wa Thiong'o. That's a name. Now, he is another great African writer whose books I've yet to read. But seriously, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing on the cover page? Or I'm the only person with a dirty mind? Anyway, that's it. Let me know in the comment section if you've read or intend to read any of these books. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you have not done so yet. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Once more, my name is Tete. Keep reading, keep changing your world, one book at a time.